welcome. We are live. I have this bottle in my hand. I don't know why I have it in my hand. It's just there. I'm going to introduce guests, but I just leave the bottle in my hand while I introduce my guests to the podcast, Footy Fantasy Podcast. Before we even introduce our honorable guests, it's on the banner, Footy Fantasy. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter, road to 1.5K. On YouTube, road to 500. Like, share, subscribe. Instagram, Fantasy Footy. Let's go. Let's introduce our guest. This our honorable guest. New on the show. Let's start with Mr. Ari Baba Arinze. How's it go? Arsenal fan.
How you doing? Thanks for having me on. Arsenal fan. General football fan overall. I like to kind of do analysis of different teams overall. But yeah, at heart is an Arsenal fan. Yeah, thank you.
My good friend Ray Baba. He dies. Thanks for coming on, Ray. This bottle.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure being online.
Ray, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh yeah, it's a bottle. What's going on? I don't understand the relevance. Are you trying to start a new business? Fantasy bottle.
Yeah. Company, the Arsenal bottling company. That's the name of my new. The Arsenal bottling train is never late.
Fair enough. I can't even complain about that one. No, I'm not gonna lie.
It's always on time. The Arsenal bottling train is always on time. Never late.
These are bottling titles now, so I'll take bottling titles over bottling other things. So.
Okay, that's a good comeback.
Yeah.
We can't use bottle for this person out. Let me remove the bottle. Chelsea friend, the race for 12th.
You can't use bottle for us.
I'll speak about for this.
No. You can't use bottle for us. We're just the recycling plant at this point. We're responsible for everything.
And right on time, part of the team, our Liverpool correspondent. They just won a game for nothing. It's like a friendly today. They just won a game. They're excited, like they won a cup, but it didn't matter. They're not going to go anywhere with the game, but thanks for coming on, La.
We want to win the Europa. Klopp has not won the Europa, so we need to get into the Europa to win it. So why would you say it's for nothing? We want to win the Europa.
The greatest team that's been assembled is looking for Europa. Wow,
great! Yeah, that's the only thing missing. We've won everything except the Europa, so why not? Why not?
Comments are flying. Got comments says
too much sense.
See, man like Ray is looking scared.
I'm just sipping my smoothie over
here. Let's dive in. Let's dive to Arsenal. That's what everybody came here for. Let's dive in. Let me start with Ray first. Because I think last time Ray was here was in February. Arsenal were flying then.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Ray was very humble. And I wish he was one of those people that were like talking too much. Ray was very humble. He was here in February. It's looking like everything was fine. You guys were like 5 or 8 points, if I remember, when you were here in February.
Yeah.
Not good. Quick thoughts about Man City loss.
I'll focus on the Man City loss. I think for the Man City loss, my initial thing was I didn't want it to come to having to get a result at Man City. By the way, so we won't talk about the games that led to that. But I think Arteta was very naive in that Man City loss. And what that means is I think he trusted his players, which, fair enough. They've performed so far this season. But I think it's one of those things where, maybe your old boss or your ex-girlfriend, and you want to show them that, hey, I'm a big boy now. And then you're not thinking properly. And then you're thinking you can just go show off and not kind of know where you are. I feel that that's a bit of what he did there, So personally, I wouldn't have done the 4-3-3, even though that's with inverted wing backs and all that we normally have done all season. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he needed to approach that almost kind of knowing where we are, and especially now that we needed something, and just suck it up and play something differently. Go back to what we did in the FA Cup, 3-5-2. And then just hit him directly in the wings. That's what I would have done personally. And all the chats, that's what I said in terms of formation. And fair enough, I guess he decided to go with what's got us to where we are so far. But I think the mistake was he did that, but then the players weren't sure what they were doing. Are they pressing high or they're sitting back? And then they're caught in this middle. And the ironic thing is, what's his name? Pep actually ironically respected what Arsenal's done so far and actually switched it up for us and decided, is like, you know what, I'm just going to hit you guys direct and take advantage of second balls. So it's interesting that the guy who's done it over and over, you would think he would be the one that would stick to his philosophy, but really he's like, okay, you guys want to do this? And we fell for it, right? So that was like a terrible approach to the game to begin with. Now onto the players. Again, this guy's the confidence has been shot from the previous games, which we talked about. And I think the one player that I do, again, it's not even an excuse. I'm just talking tactically. And I think when I was in the podcast the last time, I did say we can't do it without, as long as Saliba and Partey stay fit. I think that was kind of my, I had him through Jesus the other time. Well, no, actually, it was already injured. Yeah. Ironically, Partey is playing like garbage now. And then Saliba, but again, Saliba, the kind of player he is, not blaming him. I'm trying to hold him. Saliba is a player that can break the lines, bring to transition, and then all of a sudden he has space in midfield. And because he knows he can take the risk, if he loses the ball, he can run back and get the ball, right? Holden sits back. And so things like that, it affects, and that's what's been affecting us. But long story short, we approached that game very, very naively. And I don't know if it was confidence, like Saka. I don't remember him taking on a Kanji once, even if it's just to the byline where you're not necessarily going to beat the player. I literally was watching the game and I don't understand. It wasn't until the guys came on in the second half, the game was done at that point. So there's a lot of things confusing for me. Anyways, those are my thoughts on that.
Okay. Before I go to the only one comment I have to that is like, I think he didn't did Saka touch more than 7 times? Saka probably didn't touch more than 7 times. Saka. That's the only comment I have to that. So like when you say he didn't take him on, he didn't even have the opportunity to even be one-on-one with Akanji more than 4 or 5 times all game. So they didn't even let him be one-on-one. I don't think they even let Saka turn most of the game to even face anybody. The press was ridiculous. What are your thoughts, Arinze, about the game? Quick thoughts about that loss.
Yeah, so my first thing was, when you're going into that game, you hang in there for as long as possible, right? Just make it tight for long, don't concede. And maybe if that means going to a back three, so be it. I'm not really a fan of switching to back threes with the opponent, but at the same time, you can still approach the game a little bit differently, right? You don't have to change formation to be a little bit more defensive. You can still keep your shape, same formation, and then just hang in there, right? You're away at City, hang in there. And I feel like with Arsenal, we haven't, and it's just essentially we're a maturing team, we're a young team. So we're either really hot and overconfident, at least the last like 4 or 5 games, right? Or we're really scared. And the moment for me personally, I knew that the title was gone was the second half of Liverpool, right? Even before we conceded, because we turned into a shell of ourselves. We were dominating that game. And in the second half, you could literally see the players and the coaching staff, Arteta included, looking at the clock for it to count down so they can leave, right? They were hanging on for dear life. And it was at that point I was like, okay, I don't think this team has the, Man City, when they're playing, they're so ruthless, right? It's almost like they're like robotic in the way they do things. They're never really too high and they're never really too low, right? They're just kind of like, it's the same. That's why it's like sometimes watching Man City can be boring. If you're a football fan, you're just like, they're just straight to business. And I feel like with Arsenal, West Ham, Southampton were either really, really overconfident or were really, really like low on confidence. And I felt like by the time we got to the Man City game, we were essentially like a shell of ourselves. And to talk about the balance thing with Saliba, I think essentially, Ray mentioned this. Once Saliba is part of the team, I feel like between Partey, Gabriel, Ben White, everybody starts overcompensating a little bit. And all of a sudden, the balance of the team is completely off. And while Rob Holding might not be a bad player in his own right, like one-on-one, just the whole balance of the team, he's just not Saliba, right? There's no 2 ways about it. And so the whole balance of the team is off. And so my big disappointment in that Man City game was, okay, hang in there, don't concede. 7 minutes in, you're conceding. And it's like, I mean, at this point, you have to score, right? At Etihad, number one. And then you have to try to score twice to at least win the game in a game that you actually had to win. Yeah. But to me, it's essentially, it's a hangover from the Liverpool second half that has just kind of continued. Either we're like, oh, we're playing at West Ham and we're very excited, we're back, and then we concede one goal and then we just go into our shell. And then we go to Southampton at home, pressure, and somehow concede in the first, 5 minutes. So it's just been a hangover from that second half of Liverpool. And after that, I just knew that it was done. So,
okay. We'll move on. Hola. Let me direct.
Well,
let me direct this question from a neutral outside looking. Do you think, and Arsenal, people can talk about it if you want, Ray, and do you think a lot of Arsenal fans are making too much excuses for other Arsenal players with this Saliba thing? Because I've heard this on social media a lot. Oh, Saliba is the reason why we just start to challenge off every. And I understand balance of qualities and balance of defense. Everybody knows I understand that. But I also see that Saka's performance, I know he scored 2 goals against Southampton, but his performances are kind of dropped off, which is expected. As a young kid, I'm not criticizing for that. Partey has been horrific in the last 3 or 4 games. Odegaard has been doing this in and out. I'm good for 10 minutes and quiet for like a ghost for almost a whole half. So it's are they overcompensating with this Saliba injury thing? I don't know. I've been thinking about it for the last.
I'll come on to that after. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for me, I'll first of all say, as much as I would love to take credit as a Liverpool fan that Anfield is what killed their season, which I would love to rub in their faces that you guys came to Anfield and you just lost your mojo straight up. I don't think that's the problem. Coming to Anfield to get a point, it's a wonderful result. City got beat at Anfield this season.
Yep.
We beat City at Anfield this season. Getting a point at Anfield was not a problem. The issue.
We don't talk about that.
I need to sip 7-Up. Peter, I only have a bottle of water here, but I need to be sipping some 7-Up right now. Stray bullet. Yes, catching stray bullet for no reason. No, but to be honest, I would like to rub it in and say, Anfield is a problem. It's Anfield that caused it. And no, I don't think so. Even the things you are mentioning, Ayo, about maybe players dropping a bit of form, maybe some players not living up to their previous. It's a 38-game season, and that's one thing Pep is probably very good at. He knows when to bring players who are going off the boil out of the team, and he'll put in somebody who is just coming onto the boil, and that's the advantage of having a very good squad. In a normal season, of course, no player is going to be playing 38 games at a higher level. Even Kevin De Bruyne got benched a bit this season. Then Pep called him out in a press conference. Pep called Kevin De Bruyne out and started putting him on the bench. Foden got benched for a bit. Mahrez gets benched intermittently. So because they have different times when they hit their peak. So for example, like Odegaard that you're saying, Saka that you're saying, in a normal season that will happen. Yeah, the issue is, I think I was listening to an Arsenal fan podcast or whatever, and I think what happened was they were looking too far ahead to that City game. They were already thinking that, look, we need to get points on the board before we get to that City game. So by the time they went to play West Ham and Southampton, that mental pressure was already there because they were like, man, if we don't get points here, by the time we get to that City game, we're going to be in trouble. And that's the accumulation. For Saliba, I think he is very important. He's there like the Van Dijk. I think he is important. In fact, I have him, we're going to talk about top 3 players of this season. I have Saliba in my top 3 because I think he's big influence. He's basically the Van Dijk. I know what, of course, Van Dijk, when Van Dijk was prime, not the Van Dijk that was getting undressed today on the bench. So Saliba is very important to them because I remember the season after Liverpool won the league, Van Dijk got this injury, this like end of the season injury at Everton, and our team just collapsed basically afterwards. We barely struggled to make top 4. So I think Saliba is a big deal for them because he is that guy who is, that he's the leader in the defense. You look at Odin, come on, even before they got Saliba, you were like, Odin is not a top class Premier League defender. That defense is always going to suffer with Odin in there. So yeah, I don't think it's I think in a normal season, you can get away with some of the players going off the ball. Saka not touching the ball more than 7 times. Yeah, that can happen in a Man City game. Liverpool got smashed there 4-1 also. We went there and we were played off the park. It's Man City at Etihad. What can you do? But the problem, I think Arsenal just looked too far ahead. They were like, it was already looming that, look, we have to have like 10 points gap before we get there. And that put too much pressure on them. And that's why you see them capitulating against Southampton and West Ham. So, no, I don't think it was Anfield. I would love to take credit for it, though. I would love to take credit for it.
Let me take comments. Hold that thought, Ray. I know you want to respond, but we'll go to Idris. But let me take comments first. Oga Kwame is asking both of you, do you guys think Arsenal has the ability to hang in there defensively? I'm not sure your team has the ability to control the game out of possession. Am I wrong? Who wants to go for that?
I can just touch on it.
Yeah, I can go. I think we do. We showed that last season quite often, right? When we're kind of pushing for top 4, we can really go defensive. We can hang in there with all the players. And last season was Ben White in the center, right? With center back with Gabriel as opposed to Saliba. But definitely we can do that. We haven't done that this season because we haven't had to, for the most part. And I think the fact that essentially last season was fine. It was kind of like everybody understood that we're not a mature team. We're barely just kind of like coming on as a team. So the hanging on period, a lot of times last season, that happened very often. This season, we haven't had to do that. And the first time we did that, it was obvious that it's not something we have done this season very well. And so maybe this season, to your point, Kwame, I would agree with you a little bit this season. But I think overall as a team, if we have to do it multiple times, we can definitely do it.
Yeah, I can touch on that and say, unfortunately, I cannot disagree with everybody. I disagree in the sense that, you said 2 things. One, unfortunately, one contradicts the other in the sense that, one, you kind of did that last season, but we know how you struggled last season, right? We saw the kind of good football your team will play. Then you also said, that the players are young, right? That, for me, was the crux of why I believe they can't do it. They are not a matured team, right? The coach himself is very good tactically, but still not matured enough to manage games out, right? And I say that not to. It's just I poke holes. I'm not attacking your thoughts. So I apologize if it came out wrongly, but it's like reading that comment and thinking about Arsenal and why we were so sure that they will hit the banana peel and slip. It's not because they were not a good team. It's because everyone could see from the management level, even to the players on the pitch, that this project is way ahead of schedule. Whether we like it or not, we know Arsenal is a big team. We know they're supposed to win, but the project is way ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
The fact that they've competed this far is a huge kudos to me, in my opinion. You do not have a manager in fact, you have a manager that is very stuck ideologically. And I know me and my brother always argue about ideological players, ideological coaches. Yep. He's not going to play defensive. He's not building his team to play defensive. He has not in any way had any form structure, plan A, plan B, plan C, ever since he took over Arsenal, or never sitting back. So which means you're always going to concede at some point if you meet a solid team. Never was his plan A, plan B, plan C in any way to stifle attack. It is to press, to attack. And unfortunately, like every good team, there's a point in which the Premier League is so good at identifying how to beat a team that is on a good streak. The moment one team does it, everybody just copies and pastes it. It's almost like a very horrible way of...
It's a copycat league.
It's a copycat thing. People will play against their own ideology, aside City, to stifle you. They just have to okay, what did Ray do last week to Idris? Fine. Araba was just going to do the same thing. I was going to do the same thing. Now, Idris is going to have to figure out that, they figured me out. Do I have a plan B? Do I have a plan C? But with an ideological coach like Arteta, good coach, I don't think his philosophy, his player development, his structure, even all the way down to youth team, has anything to do for now with game management, sitting back, being able to take things, see things through. I say that because as a Chelsea team, Chelsea fan, who in the past has won ugly and who in the past has won nicely. What we loved and what I think many people outside Chelsea did not understand was we like good coaches, don't get us wrong, but we like good coaches that were flexible. It is important to know when to just close up shop. We're not here to dilly-dally. We're just here to get to the trophy podium, period. I don't think Arsenal is built like that right now. And I think they still need a few more years. It's just what I'm saying. But it's such a solid, good team.
So can I just say something? I think
yes, sir.
Yeah, I think we can do it. I think I agree with you. I don't know if Arteta knows when to do it. That's the thing.
Maturity. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's going back to what I saw at Liverpool. It was Zinchenko should have come out of that game a long time ago, but he froze. Essentially, he didn't know when to do that. So I agree with you. But I think the group overall can do it. It's just picking when to do it is
when to do it. So just one add before we Pep said something, and I think that thing is stuck in my head, and I might be judging Arteta wrongly based on what he said. He was being asked on how Man City has managed over the years to just maintain this ruthless streak at this tempo. And you were saying something about like how was it you or Ray that was saying then when they're in their ruthless form, they're never too high, never too low. Yeah. And he said it's impossible to have the same squad at that level consistently. He said after 2 years, you have to change something.
Yeah.
Because you can't motivate them the same way. And it blew my mind. I was like, because that's how we saw him.
Fergie was the first person to say that. Fergie said it first.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Manchester United.
History lessons.
Well, if you think about it, either Fergie or Pep, remember he got rid of Cancelo, and all of us were like, what the hell?
Yep.
He's got rid of some players. You're talking about benching the likes of De Bruyne. Sometimes we don't see De Bruyne. Anybody on FPL now is staying away from City players because they don't know what they're going to get the next week. But that thing you said, I remember, like when to implement that game management is so key that a lot of ideological coaches, I don't think, know how to do it. I honestly don't. But Pep has perfected it, and I don't know how that guy has done it.
Okay, let me take comments. Good. And I know Ray has some pushback. Arsenal players are young and growing. If you are commenting to Facebook, add your name. The application doesn't have a way to pick the names from Facebook. Arsenal players are young and growing. They'll make mistakes. Then the Saliba thing is just an excuse. If there had been parties, or anyone, Arsenal fans are giving the same excuse. Saliba was there when they collected 3-1 Emirates. 20 Salibas not stop Arsenal from collecting. Wow, that's like
that's right there, man. He started objectively, then he ended up with
Arsenal simply have a talent deficit compared. Thank you for the comment, by the way. I'm just joking. Don't take it personal. Arsenal simply have a talent deficit compared to the teams they are competing with. Do a side-to-side comparison with other top four sides. Arsenal have achieved. Yeah, did it massively this season. It sucks to lose this way after being on top for long, but passion is not it's deep scores. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And that's kudos to them.
Yeah,
that's real kudos to Arsenal. Yeah, they might have to spend some money to just keep this train going.
Yeah. The issue with Arteta is that he's rigid and stubborn. Ray, you have a pushback, so let's end this.
I mean, there's a lot of things there. I would say I agree with most of what Idris said, and I'm glad someone that's not an Arsenal fan had that comment. So it doesn't seem like I'm coming up with excuses. But I would say I agree with, and I think Arinze also touched on the fact that we actually can do it, because if you remember 2 years ago, the FA Cup run, it was actually, I would argue, a less talented squad that he had, whatever that means. And we were able to beat the likes of Liverpool and City all the way to the final, right? So again, that's I think that's why I made that comment earlier, that if it was up to me, and again, I think kind of what Idris and Arinze are saying, that's what I would have made that exception just for this game. Stick to your general plan that's worked overall, but like think about the pragmatism of a specific game, and I think that's, again, I'm literally just echoing what you said, so I actually agree with the points there. And then the other, I think, so I don't have much to add really. I think you guys made good points there, but we can do it. And then the comment there from the chat, again, I think we've kind of touched on the fact that Saliba is not an excuse, because the funny thing is, like, on one end we're told we're overhyping Saliba, and then when he comes out of the team and you see the impact, you're like, oh, well, now you're making excuses. It's like, which one is it? And I think Ola touched on exactly why Saliba is so important, and also because we're such a small squad that everything almost has to line up almost perfectly to maintain that. Again, we're not talking about to just win games in general. We're talking about to maintain that level of performance, right? And so, again, to Idris's point, I would hope this is kind of where my sort of trauma from Arsenal past comes in. Like, so do we build from here, or do we say, hey, thanks, we're back in Champions League, and let's just see where we? That's my concern, and I'm hopeful that it's the former, not the latter. So I don't want to take too much time, but those are my points there.
I'm glad you said that. So I'm going to ask everybody to think about this. It's a question I wanted to ask towards the end of this, towards the end of the pod, if we have time. This is if we have time. Is what one thing are you most nervous about? I know mine going into next season about your team. So keep that in mind. That's number one. Ariz, I don't know if you got the topic switch out. I don't know if EJ sent it to you, because we're not doing top 4 anymore. We're doing top 3 managers.
Okay.
And I put it in the calendar invite. I'm not sure if you caught it. Yeah, you saw it. Okay, cool. Perfect. Idris, quickly, because I don't know if there's anything to talk about. Brentford, lost. Quickly. What, like?
Well, there's nothing now. Have you seen the new Nigerian presidential elect? Every time you say something, you just do like this. So that's my new mojo right now. You just talk about, when you talk about Chelsea, I'll just be like this.
Yeah, we're going to go to Chelsea very soon, but don't go depth here.
There's nothing. Chelsea's name came there. Just say nothing. I told you it was an expected performance. There's nothing else to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about lineup change. Do you want any lineup changes now? Let's go into the preview for Arsenal Chelsea on Tuesday.
Oh, from that?
Yes.
No, Arsenal is going to bounce back with Chelsea, and then hopefully
do you
roll the dice for if City sleeps.
Do you want any changes? Because
changes, what, bro? We've been changing. You're saying things. I'm like, there's nothing here. I said when we were not even a bottling company, we're the recycling, and you're still asking about changes. I'm like this. We are the club that it's how not to run a football club. Just look at Chelsea. We can. I don't think there's a fundamental issue with Chelsea, very, very deep. I touched on something similar to what Arsenal is doing right now. I think for Chelsea, we've been very successful with the Real Madrid kind of format. We know when to chop, but we knew we recruited well. Our Nigerian brother, and shout out to those who are not Nigerian, my apologies. What's his name? Former,
Emenalo.
Thank you. Former Super Eagles player too as well. Emenalo 94, set of 94. Yeah. Emenalo fought to have a spine built for that team, and also had us have a certain kind of players coming through. Right? Those boys have managed us to a certain level. For some times, we've invested poorly because we were chasing ideology.
Should we keep these thoughts for the Lampard section? Let's keep this.
Oh, yes. So for me, I would say for me, sorry.
The game.
There's nothing for the game. There's nothing to change. We've changed and changed. We have a deep issue. It won't change. Arsenal is hurt. Arsenal can play their game. Chelsea's not going to score, which means Arsenal and Chelsea's going to concede.
Aubameyang for a goal.
For a goal, it will never happen. So when we come to the Chelsea part, when I'm writing about that part, I will explain because I don't sound like a broken record. We are not a team. That's a fact, and there are reasons why. And I'll just keep it short.
To then, okay, we'll address that then. Next level for Arsenal. Comment from Henry. The next level for Arsenal is to strengthen efficiently and effectively in order to be able to challenge and compete at the highest level. That is true. Arsenal fans are in shock. Things we love to see.
Wow, this is street fighter. You guys are like Bureau.
Lampard is a special type of coach.
Oh God!
He started as an attacker. After Chelsea, I'll be shocked if Lampard gets another coaching gig. That one we'll go into that one later.
We'll go into that one. Yeah, I think Ayo's keeping that for me to rant. So
hey, Lampard, 5 losses in a row. Don't know the last time Chelsea had that type of record. Dio.
Let's
go to Arsenal. Arinze, do you want any changes based on because you're kind of on the skid now, right? This is 4 games, no wins. That's involved West Ham. I know Liverpool and City has been there. That's expected, kind of maybe.
Yeah.
But West Ham and Southampton has been in that run now. So people are on the skid now. People have to win so that even if you don't challenge or at least win the title, but you don't want the season to just peter out. Like, do you expect any lineup changes from last game?
No, I don't think there's anything to change really. Maybe So I'm hesitant about pushing Ben White back to center back just because we haven't done that all season. That would be one change, and maybe put somebody else at right. I'm not sure what the injury status of Tomiyasu is at this point. So that might be, he's still injured, right?
Susan is out. He's done.
Yeah, he's done. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I think it's even just more. I think it's less to do with the players on the field and more just the mentality. And so if I'm Arteta, I'm telling them, look, play your game, forget about the title, forget, just be done with it. Don't worry about what if Man City is going to lose or whatever. Just play your game, because this team, as is on paper, can still beat Chelsea, right? Now, I mean, any day. Now, I will say something about Arsenal historically, and this is just my handover. We have a way of giving teams that need a win, right? So that's the only thing that makes me nervous, is that Chelsea hasn't won in 5 games, and then Arsenal come in as Father Christmas and give them a win, right? So, but exactly. So we have a way of doing that. However, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, we should be able to handle Chelsea at home again. Seriously, I don't think we should change anything. I think it's just a mentality thing. Keep the team mentally.
I really say you'll be okay. Trust me.
Yeah, we'll be fine. You're going for Christmas, so you never know.
you go. Now that time, yes, for the Christmas, we tell Chelsea, you've been a naughty boy this season. You know, you won't shishi, you won't get. Don't worry.
Before Ray responds, says Street Fighter says Lampard is CP white man privilege.
I will touch on this later. I got him. When Lampard runs.
Uncomfortable conversations. Facebook just says, I want Tierney for Zinchenko. Okay. Zinchenko is the reason we're getting the D lately. Okay. Family friendly show, guys. Play natural left back and have fun. But then, to answer his question, even as an outside looking in, understanding what Arteta is doing tactically, then you lose the control you have in midfield, right? Zinchenko is part of the reason you guys control the ball in midfield, helps Partey, in playing out of the back. So you have to, it's opportunity cost there. Ari Baba, you won't even change Iketia's phone. Say my guy.
I should be getting alone now.
Iketia, I like that. I remember for TV coming when they beat us in Emirates doing Rashford celebration. Nah. I like that. Now we aren't in shock. Henry says, real and logical Arsenal fans always knew Man City had the upper hand because of their depth. Okay, says this is the type of game that the title challenger draws points at the end of the season. I'm on record here saying City were the team to beat. Yeah, you said it many times.
Yeah.
Many times. I don't want to be a downer, but I don't think Arsenal can match this season's run. Wow. Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, Liverpool get stronger. Some of Arsenal gems will get poached by bigger clubs. Wow.
Please put your name.
This is their best chance of the next 5 years. Arsenal will go back to top 4 trophies. Please put your name. I want to see this person.
Put your name. Remove Chelsea.
If they challenge, we can find you. Don't hide behind Facebook user, please. I need to
Chelsea.
Someone says so maybe 3-5-2. Henry says perhaps 3-5-2. Okay, Ray. Any thoughts? Any lineup changes?
Yeah. I would tell you what I expect Arteta to do, and I'll tell you what I would do. So I expect Arteta to go with the exact same lineup he's gone the whole time. Same, just to get the guys back, So no changes. Zinchenko, the usual lineup. I mean, Arsenal are pretty easy to pick. What I would do is I would actually, and this might be an unpopular opinion, I would actually drop Jesus for Trossard. And the reason for me personally is because Jesus is a fantastic player again. So this is not anything against his talent, but there's a couple of those games from the Liverpool game where there's a bit, and I think someone said it earlier, where we're getting too emotionally sort of, even that every single tackle and play, and those, and I noticed that Jesus maybe just not quite at the races yet. He was always complaining about fouls, this and that, and then he kind of almost got out of the game a little bit, especially because Arteta likes this rigid structure. And that's why, even though he's obviously more of a potent option in terms versus Trossard, I think Trossard is actually better. It is right now, from what I've seen, to just focus on the structure, play all the little triangles that he likes to do, get the other guys, Martinelli and Saka, involved. And it's not a coincidence that Trossard had 7 assists in 3 games over even this period. So personally, that's what I would do. Again, nothing against Jesus. I'm just like, let's just get back into the winning and just get back to sort of the basics, so to speak. And Trossard was a really good in terms of that sort of false nine, whatever position. That's what I would do. But I think Arteta is gonna stick to the same because Jesus is his boy from City, so I get it.
Okay, let's move on. Enough. We are 30 minutes in. We're 30 minutes in. If you are watching, you can see that at the banner, Footy Fantasy, YouTube, get us to 500. We've been doing this for a while. Road to 500. Twitter, road to 1.5K. Instagram, Fantasy Footy. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the notification button on YouTube if you are, so you don't miss any of our content. Let's go to comments before we go to Ola. Talk about the greatest team assembled. Liverpool. Okay, we read this. Oh, that was Dio. Okay, Dio, we'll come back to you. We'll never forget this. You said Arsenal will go back top 4 trophies. Okay, we'll come back to this if you get this wrong. Okay, says the psychological impact of City going ahead of Arsenal today will have a lot bigger impact on the Arsenal players than a lot of people realize. Okay. Trossard for Jesus. Yes, somebody said it too. I expect Trossard and Nelson to start and let the others fill in. Interesting. And it's more versatile too. Arsenal is going back to top 4 as a trophy. Dio, no problem, Dio. You always have all these controversial comments. It usually works out. Funny enough. Henry says that's the part I see. Arteta is rigid and stubborn because that Trossard option alone is a no-brainer. He has 10 assists. I was looking at the assist chart. Trossard has 10 this season. I was shocked. 10? Wow.
I think he had like 7 in 3 games or something. So with Arsenal.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Dio, enjoy your Tuchel and stop hating. Hey, they're back on top. Bayern is back on top. Oh man, Dortmund. Okay. And that podcast. Dortmund always keep breaking my heart. Now no go start Jorginho again. Okay. Liverpool. Mr. Liverpool himself. Can you tell us why Liverpool are going to win all the games and qualify for Europa? Tell us.
Yeah, like I said, we're all about the drama now. We don't want to be playing boring games. Why would you win 3-0 when you can make it exciting and give up a 3-goal lead and injury time and let Richarlison celebrate as if he has won the World Cup? And then 2 minutes later, then we're gonna score the winner. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do that instead of just winning 3-0? Of course, we want to give you guys entertainment. That's Liverpool. They gave us a stat today that 9 times Liverpool have been involved in a 4-3 scoreline in the Premier League, and that's the highest number of times by any team. So that's what we do. We just provide entertainment. 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. So I don't know why are you guys complaining? You enjoyed the drama today, especially Arsenal fans. You guys ate Spurs, so I'm sure you enjoyed that. We gave you a ray of sunshine, of all the doom and gloom that you guys have been suffering. We gave you a ray of sunshine today. Dealt with Spurs in the most Spursy way. Like I can't imagine any other team doing that. Honestly, I can't imagine any other club in England doing that, except Spurs. Why would you come from 3 goals down, 3-3 on 92 minutes, and then give the game up 2 minutes later? It's only Spurs. But it was worrying for Liverpool because that shows why Liverpool won't be in the Champions League this season, because we've been too erratic. We've not been defensively solid. We've conceded too many goals. In fact, the surprise is actually that we actually won that game, because earlier this season we would have lost that game or drawn it. The fact that we even managed to get 3 points is a slight improvement based on what we've been playing this season. We've been very bad this season. Somehow we're in 5th. I'm not sure how, because we're in 8th and 9th like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we just managed to claw our way back to 5th. It's not a good Liverpool team, but it's good enough to at least make a good run for the last 4 or 5 games. I reckon we probably will win all of those games, but yeah, it'll be too late. Because United and Newcastle are not going to drop too many points. So yeah, we'll just take the Europa. Let's go and win that, because like I said, it's missing. That's the only trophy missing from Klopp's Liverpool career. So let's go win it. Why not? It's the Europa. At least Man United were playing it this season. They didn't win it. So I know they got knocked out by Sevilla. So I don't know. Maybe we can do better. Somebody's saying something about Van Dijk. I don't know.
I had
Like,
Van Dijk
Van
was
Dijk-
dancing Odoyewu today.
I
My guy's flexing ash.
think I said it's I don't know, maybe it was in the WhatsApp group, but I was saying that Konate has been even last season, Konate was probably our best defender, and this season by far Konate has been our best. Konate didn't have a great game today either, to be honest, but he has been our best defender for the past 18 months or so, since the World Cup, basically. Konate has been our best defender. Van Dijk, I think that's ACL really since ACL, and that's one thing. That's another thing we were happy that Richarlison suffered today because he was one of the people. Okay, he didn't injure Van Dijk, but in that same game he put Thiago out for 4 months with a very nasty injury in that derby game. Pickford took Van Dijk out for ACL, and Richarlison took Thiago out for 4 months. So that's why we're also happy that this Richarlison guy that's just flexing muscles and throwing shirts because he scored an equalizer. Look at him suffering. The guy is just useless. Yeah, so in summary, I think at the end of the day, Liverpool are not going to make Champions League. I won't say I said so, but I know Oga Kwame said we would, but I don't think we would because today is just a perfect example. No serious team should be giving up a 3-goal lead to Spurs. No serious team. I know United did a good job of giving up a 2-goal lead to them, but at least United are still 9 points ahead of us, so they can afford to be dropping points to Spurs. But no serious team in this current Spurs you should not be giving up a 3-goal lead to Spurs. But we did, but we still managed to win. Yeah.
Okay. One major talking point I have.
That's it.
I think Jota should have been sent off with that attack on the head. That's lunge on somebody's on. Was it Skip?
They will say
that was a red card.
They'll say, I can see the argument for it, but they'll say the guy also put his head down, and Jota had the right to go for the ball. But let's not ignore the fact that Diaz got a very bad tackle in the first half that should have been a red card too. And the referee didn't even give him a free kick. He didn't even get a free kick. The guy lunged in and hit him on his chin. It was a very bad tackle. But with the Jota one, I see the argument for it. But they will say sometimes if the guy brings down his head towards the ball, then you have the right to go for it. He drew blood, but I don't think it was what they will say. It was not excessive force. It was not like that Mane one, the Mane one against Ederson. That Mane one was excessive force. Mane went in 100%. This Jota one, he was reaching for it, but he didn't go with full force. But if they gave a red card, I probably would have seen why it was a red card. But I don't think Spurs have any right to complain. Last season, Harry Kane got away with murder against Liverpool. He got away with murder just because he was England captain. He should have been sent off against Liverpool, but he didn't. And then Robertson got sent off instead later on. So Spurs, they can't complain to us about that because especially that referee. I think he's probably the worst referee in the league. Not just because for this match, he's just a bad referee. And Klopp always has a problem with him. Klopp was already yabbing him after the match. That doesn't know why Tierney gave him a yellow card and made an inappropriate comment to Klopp, and Klopp is already shouting about that. Why did the referee tell me this after giving me a yellow card? So he's just a bad referee. Paul Tierney is not a good referee at all.
Okay, empty comments. I'll move on quickly from this because we know the next topic is going to take some time. I anticipate that already. Johanna says, hope UEFA reunite us with Arsenal for our regular 5-1 Champions League romps. Oh, Arsenal is back in UCL. That's congrats, guys. After 7 years, good to be back. Ariza and Ray, good to be back in Champions League. After 7 years. Okay, says need Liverpool to qualify for Europa or Conference League. Can't have Liverpool with any midweek fixture. That's true. Yes, I agree. Europa, Thursday night football on Liverpool. I want that. Good.
Yeah, our B team. It will be our B team. We won't use of course, we won't be sending Salah to go and play FC Carrier bag. Salah will be relaxing at home now. What do you mean? We'll be sending the likes of Abbey Elliott.
But you said earlier you were telling you want to win it. Now you're saying you're not saying.
Yeah, but we can win it. No, I'm not saying we can't win it. Did United use your first team all through the group stage? You are using your B team.
Ten Hag doesn't rotate, man. If you want to go there, I can say that all day. It doesn't rotate. He plays full team every game. He does not care.
All your Europa games.
He's playing Sulere 11. He's playing. Ten Hag does not care. He's full 11. That's my biggest criticism of Ten Hag. Yeah, he plays puts him every time. It does not rotate. Okay, the topic of the day, Idris. This Lampard experiment, bros.
I'm laughing already.
Before Lampard took over, let me set the stage. Before Lampard took over, I remember I looked at the table then because I knew that this was like red flag. Like I don't know if anybody has seen this Jamaican meme, one lady, where she's just talking. She was pretty much giving advice to women how to spot red flags in men, right? And she literally had a flag. That thing is one of the most hilarious thing. You say when you see a man, I can't do Jamaican accent, but like when you see a man, like for a man that doesn't pay for first date, then she goes red flag. She rose the flag like a very big red flag. That's how that was going off in my head when I saw that news. Like what? And that's why I posted on our chat. You saw what I said. This Chelsea execs, their decision making is spooky. It was a spooky decision to me. I was like, whoa, Lampard, whoa, like you cannot do this. When they did, I was like, what? Lampard. So, anyways, that's the stage. I looked at your points then, right? Chelsea was comfortably 7 or 9 points. I remember above Palace. Palace are above Chelsea now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Villa too. I'm sure Villa were behind Chelsea.
I don't understand.
Villa fired their coach. They hired an actual coach. I can make fun of him in Arsenal. Good evening, but I can assure you, if Good Evening actually was playing against City, he's not dropping points because he has experience. Just saying, you didn't give him time, but that's what under the bridge. If Good Evening had this run, Good Evening is playing 20 man behind. If he has to get to City, that's just the experience. But finish.
About the Lampard experiment or hold on for your dear life. I had to put it there because that's kind of
hold on for your dear life. Fam, where do I start now? Let me put time in my head so that I'm not piece of EJ in the editing, so that I can quickly raise like let me leave. I didn't say it.
I'm going to make a joke.
Let this guy cook.
I remember this is a family-friendly show. I was going to make a joke. I was like, no.
You were talking about red flag. Let me do my small imitation. If he breathes, red flag. If he eats, red flag. If he even wakes up in the morning and says good morning, red flag. Like anything, that's Lampard to Chelsea. Straight up. Why do I say this, right? Like when you asked me what would we like to change, and I said that like there's no point. Let me see. Do you think Lampard should be sacked? Fine. He should be sacked. I won't bother texting, wasting data to sack him. He's security guy that will walk him out. You know, this kind of like when you're bouncing somebody, you're like this. That's it. Like, why are we talking? Why are we wasting data? Why are we wasting money? Anything. But then again, he's a son of the soil. He's an Omo Onile. There's a reason why I'm using this word. Because somebody also, you remember the statement about privilege. And I want to be careful about it, right? He literally, in fact, he's the reason everything is where they are right now. Somehow, he gets the Chelsea job. And you remember, even when you were like trolling me and saying, oh, it used to be, because I've always liked Lampard.
Yeah.
Well, I've also tilted. You know me, I'm about at least me, I know I'm hyped for people I support. But I will always, if you give me data stats and you put context based on my background and my job, I am forced to swallow the pill and pivot my point of view. That one I know as a person I will do. That's my personality in life. Lampard has shown nothing in the last year and a half that he deserves any job as a top manager. Any job, even in championship, as a manager. That's facts. This is not to like trash the guy, talk ill about the guy. He's not worthy of that position. If the likes of Patrick Vieira can be fired, if the likes of Good Evening can be fired, someone like him should not be there. That's fact. Yet somewhere along the line, and I really think I am biased, and forgive me if it comes across very biased. I have this issue as a person who spent most of his life in the Western world, looking at privilege a little more with some form of disdain. And I notice it very, very common, and we don't want to talk about it, but it's very common among our Anglo-Saxon brothers. They're not going to admit this thing. If Roman owned that club, Chelsea wouldn't be where Chelsea is right now.
Absolutely not. No.
We all know this, but somehow, and we've beat this when we're talking about morality in football and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You took a club. Now you're saying anybody that buys into the Premier League has to have this, whatever. You bring the Americans in. As usual, it still remains an old boys club where you guys are familiar with each other. They like the American accent. The Americans like the British accent. And it's always that same, you know what I mean, click. And then you make crazy decisions. And then people are watching you guys saying it's not up to standard. It's not based on what's it called, like performance. It's becoming crazy. When they fired Tuchel, I understood, and I still to tomorrow admitted, when it comes to an employer having a conversation with an employee and it's not working, you got to go, even if you're performing. We all understand that for project management, building a team, executing a project. But when you hired Porter, we have an expectation. We know it was looking bad. But you signed a whole bunch of players before this guy comes in. This guy comes in, you also sign a whole bunch of players. Then you put embargo on certain players like Aubameyang, they can't play because their contracts are running out. You're freezing out certain players while you sign other players. So we're bloated with a lot of like lack of team camaraderie, right? We've broken whatever form of chemistry we're supposed to have as a team. And then fine, you fire the coach. Bring anybody. Bring anything. Honestly, they could have gone and grabbed Emma Hayes, the Chelsea female manager. And I'm not even saying that as like to disrespect her.
No, I know what you mean.
Like Lampard can't lace her boots. Let's be real.
That's true.
I've heard a punditry. We've seen her work in the female team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She might have broken the glass ceiling and managed us to the end. You know what I mean? They bring a guy that failed. And here we are. And it's unfortunate because no matter what we change, there's something broken in the Chelsea team. Last game, everybody was talking about 3-5-2, this and that. Kante runs into the box on the counter attack. There's literally no human being. Do you think it doesn't matter? Him being fired doesn't matter. It will just descend the club into more chaos. So what we just need to do is get to the end of the season and actually get a manager with experience. So the owners, unfortunately, out of exuberance,
Pochettino,
failed. He's better than whatever shit we had in the past. I apologize.
Pochettino.
I mean, he's not my number one, but right now I'll take him because at least I know he knows what he's doing. Well, and as a Chelsea fan, I'll take him for 1.5 seasons before firing him because I hope to fire him very soon. That's just our toxic way of living. But we hired quality, but we've been that was the past. You know what I mean? So for me, there's so much about Chelsea that hurts me from the cultural standpoint. We didn't need to be here. We are here. And the guys that came in just made it worse. So
I'm going to throw this out to anybody on the panel, guys, can jump on it. At what point, that's the angle I want to direct the question now. At what point the opportunity cost of keeping Lampard there, they keep losing, the morale of the players keep getting damaged. Like there's even no benefit of saying, oh, okay, we're using this remaining games to judge who we are keeping in and who we are shipping out. Mm-hmm. At what point do you just hold on to that and it just keeps going down, damaging morale of even good players because the environment is now very toxic. In a different type of toxic way, just toxic where everybody's losing belief versus, oh, let's just hold on to the end because we don't want to cause chaos. So anybody else apart from Idris can jump on this. What are your thoughts?
I'll jump in. It's an interesting one because for me, I well articulated, Idris. I'm just trying to understand, so they picked Lampard for what we suspect of some of those reasons, but I guess he was supposed to be an interim manager to the end of the season. Is that what they hired him for? Okay. So I think I think part of what they're trying to do is, honestly, I don't even know what they're trying to do. Not gonna lie. So like I'm trying to like think through. Is it like because there's a couple of, I guess, are they waiting to see what managers are available? Because I'm like, if that's the case, why don't we just get those managers or start the conversation? Or at least, like, I would have assumed, say, you get an intern manager, like whoever it is, and then that means it gives you time to start the conversation with your potential managers. And then at some point, how long does it take to have that conversation? So for me, I feel like whoever they would have been buying time to talk to at this point, especially even more so now, it's just kind of falling apart. They should be able to have that conversation, unless there's another manager somewhere that we don't know that they're waiting to end the season. So honestly, I guess what they're just trying to, I think this Todd Bowley guy just seems like just an insane person that just kind of decides whatever he wants to do, whether it makes sense or not. So in his mind, sorry, go on.
Now, I wanted to add to the manager thing you said.
Sure.
When he was doing the buy, I called it out. A lot of people called out that, there's something off with the way these guys are doing stuff. And we as Chelsea fans were like, nope, we're okay.
Mm.
They get you all the ingredients and stuff to do, just perform, right? Where we as Chelsea fans realized, like, shit, maybe he doesn't, was when, after firing Todd Bowley, there was no backup plan.
You mean after Tuchel?
Sorry?
You mean after Tuchel or Potter? You mean after Potter?
Potter, sorry. After firing Potter, sorry. There was no backup plan. Because you should have somebody lined up. But then we had his assistant still remain for one game. You know what I mean? And then we brought in Lampard. And then two top managers walked away from the interview. And one thing I need to know about the one manager specifically I didn't want, but the fact that he turned it down is even hurtful, is Nagelsmann. The two directors of football we have right now worked with Nagelsmann.
Yeah, that's true. In Leipzig, that's true.
Interesting. Can I just say this? I think Todd Bowley is the root problem. Whether you brought in Lampard or Goats from whatever market, I don't think nothing changes. And Todd Bowley just doesn't know football, right?
Facts.
Summer, he came in with the Real Madrid. We're going to be a big club. Buy Sterling, buy Koulibaly, blah, blah, blah. Midway through the season, it is obvious what he saw. Arsenal, top of the league, young players. Let me go buy all the best young players in Europe and get a coach like Graham Potter, which Arsenal had considered at some point when Arteta was wavering, right? And then have our project. But the thing about a project is you have to go through the downs, right? You have to be able to. I mean, at some point, Arsenal last season was at the relegation zone, right? And we stuck to it. But again, he can't stick through it. And he's like, Idris mentioned, you fire Graham Potter, you don't have a backup. And if I'm Pochettino right now, I'm not touching that job. Sorry, Idris, right? Because even a lot of good coaches will go there and still struggle because the owner essentially, one, doesn't know what he's doing, but also is insistent on trying to be involved in footballing decisions. And I find this with American owners. Arsenal, we've gone through our own American owner issues, mind you, very similar, where it's that kind of arrogance and it's almost like you have to be pegged down a little bit before you learn. And with Todd Bowley, I think for the next couple of seasons, I think Chelsea is going to struggle. They're going to go through the cycle of coach, players, before either he steps away from footballing decisions or, he hires like a competent director of football that is bold enough to stand up to him to push him away. But I don't see Chelsea. He has
hired.
Is he staying away? That's the thing, right?
No, he's not. And I don't know if you've caught any of this, or Ray or Olaf caught any of this in the news. It's just the Chelsea news. Fans are already attacking him. Like, his box is here, and fans are leaning over and calling his name out. Like, there's pictures of people talking to him like this, right? And his hands are like this. So there's a. He's feeling the heat. He understands. That's what I know. Unfortunately, I think the naivety of how he came in is dawning on him, because he did apologize. Mistakes were made. That was a couple of weeks ago. So what I appreciate about him for now here in is 2IC is Bengali. Yeah, there is their finger is on the pulse of Chelsea fans. It's not. I don't think it's like the United situation where it was like, I'm just gonna get you the best deflector in the world in Ed Woodward. You know what I mean? And just clean up profits. Arsenal, they had
nobody can be like those guys. Glazers, nobody can be like those guys.
Yeah. Arsenal at the moment, and I have to give Arsenal's the owner's son, Kroenke's son.
Josh.
He was willing to do what needed to be done, right? And that's why I'm not really hating on Arsenal's slip. You know what I mean? Todd unfortunately proved everybody the stereotypical American behavioral way of doing things. And unfortunately for me as a Chelsea fan, it was just more than that. I think the Lampard hiring, the turning down of the job by other managers, and just everything we defended him for seems to look like we didn't know what we were talking about. Because I couldn't think of somebody risking billions of dollars and making irrational decisions like that. You know what I mean? There's got to be something up here for you to get to that level.
Yeah, we think people up there are smart, but really they're
That's the thing.
they're really not. Not all of them.
Before Ola jumps in, let me take comments. Ola, so Oga comment said there's no room for Chelsea players in the dressing room. I heard they are lapping each other like downfall for Lagos.
Even Lagos has banned lapping. They've banned lapping now.
Okay, Lagos are banned lapping. Pit fighter, wow, this guy's a real Chelsea. I said Benny in tears, Idris in tears. Life is good. Hello, life is good.
Put your name so that I know where you fall. Put your name.
That's what I was doing on my Instagram, you know, when Arsenal bought it. I've been doing it, but I've chilled.
Yeah, Lampard's a real Nepo baby. Yes.
Lampard is a Nepo baby of English football. Lampard got his playing career kick. His career kick started at West Ham because of his uncle. Yeah, remember?
And his dad too.
Jobs as a result of his uncle's ties to the club. Yep. It's just a Nepo privilege. Getting the family into a position above their level. Dyer. All right, Dyer. Dyer's going the angle. Idris, are you scared that things have become so bad that even next season is in serious jeopardy? Question for you, Idris.
No. I mean, I've things got so bad. Oh yeah. I mean, that track, the way that music, how low can you go? How low can you go? That's Chelsea. But I think we've literally hit the rock bottom. Why? Because the fact there's one coach in Pochettino, right? We're going to struggle. We're probably going to struggle to get into top 4.
Okay, I was going to ask you a question. What's your expectation is next? Because I'm telling people that I know like that. I'm like, I hope people are not thinking of top 4 next season. Because that ain't happening. I hope people are ready for that.
Unfortunately for Chelsea, we expect it. Unfortunately. But I know you're rational. Wait, you're rational. A rational mind would be this ain't happening.
They don't have European football next season. So that's always going to be a factor. They don't have European football.
Man, it ain't happening, man.
Wait. It depends on the coach. Look, football, things change very quickly.
I agree.
Change very quickly.
I say this every time. You know, that's my motto. I say this. I know. I just
can I tell you why I have hope that we're going to come back next season?
Okay.
If we had a very stingy bunch of owners, right, then I know we're dead. Because there was something somebody said about Arsenal maintaining their situation right now, right? I'm more worried that Arsenal will not maintain that level of addition than I am worried Chelsea not making top 4. Why? Chelsea will spend. Chelsea will find a way to spend. Chelsea will be ruthless. Right,
and I'll tell you my comeback to that. I'll let Ola go. I know.
Yeah, sorry. I was just like Arsenal needs to worry about drop off. We know their squad is small. We have a ton of players. We just need a coach to assess those players and then ride with what he needs.
You don't have a goal scorer.
So let me say something very quickly. In my opinion,
Lukaku is still in Chelsea.
If the last 2 years or last 12, 18 months has not showed you that it's not about spending money and it's about how to spend it. With what happened at Chelsea and PSG, with all the accumulation of talent that those two teams have done, and even Barcelona is accumulated so much talent and ended up knocked out by a good-ish United side in Europa. Good-ish, because I don't think we're good. I call us a good-ish team. That's what we are. And get knocked out by a good-ish United side with all the accumulation of talent. Nah, man. I think people need to start seeing that it's not about just spending money. It's how you spend it. So I think that's a big shout to think that Chelsea will make top 4 and Arsenal will drop off. That's a very big shout, in my opinion. Anyways,
I think it depends on the coach they bring in. I think it depends on the coach, because a good coach can quickly assess who's not going to fit in, who you can just push out straight away.
Exactly.
And I think a good coach will also address the biggest issue for them, which is goal scoring. I think people just underestimate that big problem they have. These guys are creating chances, they're not putting them away. And that's why I always sing for goal scorers. No matter what, because goal scoring is basically one of the hardest things in football. Having a reliable goal scorer is very important. Chelsea created a lot of chances. Your defense, I think your defense is not like the worst in the league. It's like a top 5 in the league.
Our defense is the top. According to stats, I thought it was 4th, but our defense is the the 3rd best defense in the league.
3rd best in the league. So that means the main issue is you guys are not scoring. You're not scoring. Yeah.
To add to you, Ola, we haven't won the game since March 11th.
March 11th, imagine. So my main thing with Chelsea is I'm not saying they're going to be fantastic next season, but I think they can be in for a shout for top 4 next season if they get a good manager, if they get the right blend. The raw material is there. That's the thing. And to be honest, I'm jealous of their sugar toddy. I'm jealous of that man, because that guy is just spreading the love, man. I wish we had an owner like that in Liverpool. Somebody would just come and just stupidly throw money around and just say, okay, but go and buy that guy for 100. Go and buy Enzo for 100 million. Yeah, come on. We want somebody like that at Liverpool.
We have a question for you, Ola. Ogakam is asking a question, Ola. Is there any update on your coach's injury? Man like Klopp,
Look, that was instant karma. In fact, I don't even feel sorry for him. I love Klopp, but I don't feel sorry for him. That was instant karma. I don't know what he was doing, running to the 4th official to shout at the 4th official after the goal. Instant karma. Even he said it himself. So it's not like I'm even dissing him. He said it himself. He said he got a crime for his punishment for his crime straight away, because he had no business running to the 4th official to scream at him after we scored, and then he pulled hamstring straight away. So he's going to be out probably for the rest of the season. He'll probably be on crutches. He'll be on crutches. But I'm not laughing at his injury. I'm just laughing at the karma, because it was instant karma. I just don't see why he had to go and do that. Just celebrate your goal. Celebrate the winning goal. Why would you go to the 4th official to scream in the face of the 4th official? Makes no sense to me.
I think realize that high and low. The thing when you made the comment, not too high, not too low. That's the club. What club doesn't believe in? He's always
he can be very emotional. Yeah, he can be. But that's how he powers his team. That emotionally, that's how he powers his team. But for Chelsea, I think I don't know. For some reason, I think Chelsea will play the Arsenal match like a final. I said it last week too, or 2 weeks ago. For some reason, I think Lampard. This is what Lampard will tap into. Lampard will tap into it and say, "Look, you guys,
when the weather is dry, it's dry. Tap into what? You guys are talking as if there's battery, there's available power supply. NEPA, it's nothing for us there. There's no light in Chelsea.
It will shock you. Chelsea are good at this. They're good at spoiling title challenges.
We spent too more time, over 20 minutes on Chelsea. Let's move on. Let me take comment. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. Top 3 managers of the season, top 3 players of the season. People in the comments, give us your top 3 managers of the season, top 3 players. Let's take comments first. Okay, says Idris, it would be unfair to bring in a permanent manager now. If that new manager doesn't hit the ground running, then some Chelsea fans turn on him. Yeah, that's true. I
disagree. But let's go to top 3, top 4.
Okay, Street Fighter. This Street Fighter guy said, even with Nkunku and Lukaku, next season will be tough for Chelsea, in my opinion.
We will score goals. I disagree again. They're like
season review. I'll come with some facts, So I'll come with season review. Top 3.
I think Chelsea's gonna get Ancelotti in the summer.
Oh, you think so?
Just watch.
Nah.
Really?
He even said it. He said it. He said he's enjoying it. You probably go to Brazil before coming back here.
Okay, they'll give him money. He's gonna show
Ancelotti
up.
knows his strengths, though. Ancelotti knows his strengths. I always tell people, me and Ola were professional Ancelotti haters. Ancelotti knows his strengths now. He's not a good builder. He's not good at building. But already established guys, killers, he knows how to go in and just give them
good man manager. He's
It's not good. That is a sugar baby, man. He was at Everton, was dating this so-called nice looking project, and the guy's like, you now spoil my market. As soon as sugar daddy called him back, I was like, come on.
He was dating potential.
The guy went back.
I mean,
he was dating potential.
I'm dating potential. Potential kill you.
Okay, let's start with Ray. I know. Ray, give us your top 3 managers of the season.
Oh, top 3 managers. Okay. Is there any particular order or?
Yeah, let's just start from, I guess, third, second, first.
Okay. I would say Eddie Howe, number 3 for me.
Okay.
I would still stick with this, although it was a little bit tough. I'll say Unai Emery, number 2 for me, because of what he's done with Aston Villa to where they are. And for me, this is a tough one. I was going to put Emery actually above Arteta a little bit just because of what's happened the last couple of weeks. So I'll still say Arteta is the top manager for me for the season. Again, just compared to where we were last season. And, we've kind of talked about how we've basically, I don't know if the word's overachieved, but we've definitely way ahead of a schedule where we should be, to the point where we actually are now disappointed that we're not in, sort of in the driving seat of the race anymore. So for that reason, so Eddie, Emery, Arteta for me, top 3 managers.
Okay. Arinze. All right, Baba.
Yeah. So I'll say number 3 for me is Roberto De Zerbi, Brighton. I think Graham Potter had done a lot at Brighton, but I think Roberto De Zerbi has really taken that team a step up from expectation. I'll put Arteta at number 2. I think he has done phenomenal, like Ray said. I mean, again, we're looking at the season and, can laugh, Arsenal is bottom in the league, but really, I don't even think many people had Arsenal in the top 4 going into the season at all, right? Some people were like, it'll be a stretch, maybe not, but to be in the title race and to go this far is really commendable. Doesn't mean he doesn't have work to do and all, but, I'll put him at number 2. And number 1, I think we sometimes underestimate how good of a coach Pep Guardiola is, because he just wins consistently all the time. And it kind of becomes boring to a certain degree. But he's still the best coach in the league. I mean, it's always between him and Klopp most seasons, but this season I'll give it to Pep Guardiola. I'll have him at my number 1. Just the fact that the last, 10 games now, it seems like they haven't even lost or dropped a point. And that way of just keeping the team ticking consistently. They're a machine, right? And it takes a hell of a coach to do that. No pressure, no panic, just keep moving. So that's my number 1. So 3-1, De Zerbi, Arteta, Guardiola.
Okay, that's good. All up. Give me your top 3.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 3, I have Unai Emery. This another thing. I think because of how bad Lampard has been, Steven Gerrard has managed to escape a lot of criticism because Gerrard was really, really bad at Villa.
Aura man.
But
thankfully, Lampard, I was calling him the Aura man. That's what they call him. That if you look at his aura.
Oh no, of course. No, but of course, we know now. You call Gerrard out now. You fan? You miss a chance.
I have to.
You miss a chance. No, but I think Lampard has managed to take away a lot of attention that should be focused on Gerrard's legacy at Villa, because that same Villa is who Emery. I think Emery came in. Was it November or December or something like that?
November. And
now they got as far as, like, if they had gotten maybe a result at United today, they probably would have been in a shout for top 4. Yeah. Imagine. And they were like 15th, 16th when he took them over. Then he took over them.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, they were fighting relegation. So I think Unai Emery has done a fantastic job. It's basically the same players. I think maybe he made only 1 or 2 signings in January. He bought a left back, I think. And basically the same players, and he has turned it around for them. They even had, I think, since he came in, they've picked the highest number of points. I think up to today, the same period, they picked more points than even City in the same period, even more than Arsenal. So until they lost today anyway. So he's number 3 for me. I have Eddie Howe as number 2 because I know people are saying, oh, nobody thought Arsenal will make top 4, but I'm sure nobody thought Newcastle will make top 6 this season or even top 8, because they were all thinking, okay, this is a building season. Let's just try and make mid-table safety. And it's not like he's gone out to spend ridiculous amounts of money. That's the Newcastle United fan who was pointing out today that out of the players that played yesterday, 9 out of the 11 were players who were there before. It's not like players he just bought. These are players that many of them are even like championship standard. Jacob Murphy, Sean Longstaff, all those kind of players. You're like,
Longstaff is the academy kid, right?
Academic kid.
Yeah, I remember when he broke in and it was huge. Yeah.
I'm not saying they didn't spend. They've spent, but they spent wisely. And this backs up what Ayo was saying, that it's not just about how much you spend, it's how you spend it. And they've not spent it's not excessively, but when they spend, they've managed to buy some proper players, Isaac and Bruno Jimenez. So yeah, and I think Eddie Howe has done a great job. When he was at Bournemouth, there was always this notion, which I also bought into, that this guy doesn't know how to coach defense. He's a bad coach at defending, because Bournemouth used to beat so. Yeah, but that was the notion, because people were like, this guy doesn't know how to coach defense. He's always conceding 4 goals every game. Right. But look at Newcastle this season; they've had a very good defense. So Eddie Howe number 2, and yeah, Pep Guardiola has to get his flowers, because this is a treble challenge. People are not shouting it, but this is a very, very real treble challenge. It's leading City on this season. Now they are top of the league. They're in the FA Cup final. Most likely they'll be in the Champions League final. He's done some tweaking this season. Let's not forget that there was one time he was putting Rico Lewis, that young boy, at right back. He tried some different things. Things didn't work out, but he kept adapting. And now look at the same. They're on fire now. So it's not like City didn't face problems. City faced problems. In fact, people were even writing them off at one stage. Haaland has finished Cities. Haaland's goals that killed City. Haaland is the one that has destabilized them. But look at them now. So, and it's because Guardiola found a way to fix the problems. It wasn't Haaland. It was just structural problems, midfield, defense. And he has fixed that. And look at them now, they're flying. So I think he's manager of the season. Even if they don't win the treble, most likely they'll win the league and the FA Cup. That's still not bad.
Hey, don't say that. Most likely.
Okay, I take it back.
Manchester Derby is coming. Anything can happen.
So you stop their treble. United will stop their treble.
I didn't say anything about that. I didn't say that.
So that's for me.
The White Walker.
Emery, Al, and Pep. Pep number 1.
Idris.
I'm not even going to disrespect Pep and rate him with a bunch of clowns. If you're a Chelsea fan or you've seen clowns, you have to give credence to the gods. So Pep, Klopp, they're on a different league. I'm not going to mention them. I'm going to mention Arteta as number 1 for me. Consistency, even if I know that there's some maturity that needs to be done. I've seen that guy make players play better. I know Jorginho will play better under him. I know somebody mentioned Jorginho earlier. There's just a struggle right now in terms of structure and his maturity. For me, Arteta consistently has showed that he runs out of gas, but he's been showing that I'm getting close. So for me, Arteta signing proper players, managing the players, trying to get his target. Number 2 for me, Newcastle. I would say that's Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe showed us how to manage players. He said 9 out of, they didn't really buy players. Let's be honest. Again, this is coming from Chelsea. When I know my benchmark of spending money is very messed up, but I'll just say they didn't buy. They have money to buy. The Arab boys seem to be using sense than the Americans. So I don't know what's going on, but Eddie Howe, they went for him. As soon as they bought that club, he was their target. They didn't mince words around it. They know what they were trying to build. They got their guy. They worked with their guy. They signed the kind of player. And God, man, Newcastle in 3rd. Jeez, they're going to be there for a while. They're going to be there for a while. Then the Brighton coach, Roberto, right? The Brighton coach. We bought everything in Brighton. The only thing we didn't buy was their cabinet and their TV. And we didn't even buy the owner. If we could afford to buy the owner, we'll have bought the owner. Yet, they're still showing us how dumb we are. In fact, there's even a joke where they're telling us they're looking for a new manager. Don't pick up this call from Chelsea. That's the new joke that they're hey, they're hiring everybody at Chelsea. If you see this number, HR is saying don't pick it up because they're losing people. Yet they didn't really sign anybody. They lost a whole bunch of people and they still maintained it. That tells you how very structured they are in that football club. So you have to give the manager credit for what he's done. So those are my 3, because I'm not going to disrespect Pep and Klopp and bring them into this conversation.
Hey man, we have to have a club conversation, man. I'm going to have some agenda. I'm going to have some club conversation. Okay. Let's move on. Number 3, let me run through mine. Number 3, very quickly. I think it's Eddie Howe. Like, I'll just add that he's, defensively look really solid, and for everything everybody has said, they're a well coached, well drilled side. Number 2 is Arteta. I think Arsenal are definitely overachieving, punching way above their weight with what he has done, the recruitment, the management of the style, and it kind of been pushed back to what some people have said. I know that maybe Ray kind of captured the best. It's like Arsenal's transition. Let's not forget that Arsenal was a defensively counter-attacking side when he first came into an FA Cup. There was a time they was playing the back three and they were crossing a lot. I remember Arsenal was complaining that we just cross. I don't know what we are doing. I remember the time. Like, I remember the transition of Arsenal over before it's now. It's last year they became this ball dominant, heavy possession side built from the back. It was last season we saw it in full. Before, there was a time 2 years ago. I remember Arsenal fans, we just cross. And that was time, that's all Arsenal were doing. Just go, Tierney, cross. They were just crossing 1 million crosses to nobody. So they transitioned. And so he gets mine. The more one is Pep too. I get called a Pepite by Ola and some other people I know. They call me a Pepite, so I have in my United chat, people call me Man City fans. They call me Man City fan. I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? Just because of how I praise them a lot, but it's just true. One of the hardest things to do in coaching is to get elite talent, to stay motivated. And when it looks like they're about to hit a lull, like with beginning of the season, everybody was saying different things. Like Ola picked, he made changes. This 3-2-5 thing, he started his middle of the season, he made those changes. He kicked Cancelo out of the team. And people were like, oh, I remember pundits on BBC, Sky Sports saying, the problem with Man City is they took a lot of their depth. How can you sell Jesus to your rival? They were saying all these many things. Now, Arsenal fans are complaining about Jesus not being clinical. I remember telling one Arsenal fan that the main reason they sold Jesus was because he's not clinical. People were arguing with me then. Now, Cancelo is going to Bayern. Bayern are looking, it's like you have to respect what this man has done. Yes, they have resources. We know this. But we know teams that have resources. They don't even get anywhere close to what he's doing. So that's why. I'll go to my players and I'll let everybody go. My 3 players are number 3 is Rodri for me. The pivot CDM is the most important role, especially if you play like a team that builds and plays out of the back. Rodri has been exceptional. I saw Pep's thing the other day when he talked about Rodri after the game against Arsenal, why Rodri is so important to the team. Like, that guy in transition, moving the ball, in attack, in position, in reading the game, is so precious. Sometimes I see against Arsenal, like 2 players went to him. He was just turned very quick. Like, it's hard to do what he does. So that's why Rodri has been exceptional this season. Number 2 is Saka. Saka, my brother, my Yoruba brother, eating a bar. He's an Arsenal guy. Everybody knows like my feelings with Arsenal, but I like Saka. The Eba that boy is eating this season is incredible. He's been incredible. He has literally led Arsenal's title charge, sometimes single-handedly. Number 1 is Haaland. Like Ola said, goal scoring is the hardest thing to do, man. That guy is a freak of nature. I mean, what else is there to say? So that's mine. Ray.
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, I would say mine would be, I think KDB kind of snuck back into the top 3 for me. I think he kind of was a little quiet early in the season, but again, in the crunch time when it was needed, been there, done that.
That's what they call him, playoff K.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So he snuck into the top 3 for me. He wasn't even on that radar, I would say, until the last month. And then Saka number 2 for me. I think you've mentioned enough of those reasons there. Again, don't think about the last 3 weeks, just this whole season. And then Haaland, man. Sorry, that guy is Asgardian demon. That's all I can say.
I need to start going down. Remove my headband.
This guy let his hair down and scored 30 seconds after. I was finished then.
I was shoot. I texted our United chat. I was like, guy in the FA Cup final, Lord have mercy. He said, I want to score down. Let me remove my headband. Just throw your headband. Bang, and score. Whoa.
Yeah.
Chill, buddy. Chill.
Yeah. So, those are our top 3.
All right, Baba. Let's go.
Yeah, no, Iceman, you took exactly my top 3, honestly, in that same order. Rodri, number 3. I think he goes underrated, but he's probably the sole reason why City can play the way they can, right? He is absolutely phenomenal. Number 2 is Saka. Now, I'm torn between Saka and Odegaard in terms of the most important player in Arsenal, right? I just give it to Saka, but yeah, he is. I think he's the one that almost every game he shows up. I mean, recently, the last couple of games has been hard. I think the whole team really is not alone in that. But even when other players are off form, Saka would just have a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes, bring the team back in. So, if Haaland wasn't there, which is number one, Saka would be well within right to be player of the season, in my opinion. But number one is Haaland. The guy is, I mean, what else is there to say? What else is there to say? The guy just scores and scores and scores.
You know what's so scary now for me, for the league going forward is Haaland seems, maybe it's just one game and maybe I'm getting carried away, I need to see it more, but Haaland seems to have unlocked the goal creating link up play thing. If that's fully unlocked, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And is that adjustment like Ola was mentioning, right? It's like at first it was like, okay, he scores goals, but you could watch City and say, okay, he's scoring goals, but the team wasn't really all the way.
Yeah.
Small adjustment here and there, add Pepe, add Maggie, and now City is playing brilliantly and Haaland is scoring. So it's not like, should we just give them the league for the next 2 seasons and then
add Maggie, add salt.
Like Harry Kane. I saw him doing League Cup League.
I felt you, bro.
I was like, whoa, we didn't want that. We're not ready for this. Why are you doing this?
You know what's scary? Nobody's talking about the amount of goals he misses.
Yeah. And the fact that other players are now scoring just as much now. It's simply incredible. That's mine.
Oh no, Ola, you're next. I think that's how we're doing it, right? Ola.
Okay, yeah, Ola go then. Ola go.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, my players of the season are usually like, I rank them more based on the importance to the team. So that's why I mentioned Saliba earlier on. I think for me, it's the third best player this season in terms of importance, because like I believe if you take Saka out of that Arsenal team, Arsenal still have enough attacking players to. I mean, it's not like it's not like your attacking player will die straight away if Saka is not there. But Saliba, you can see now, Saliba gone, no leader in defense. You have Rob Holding instead. So I just feel Saliba has maintained the level of consistency all season, and his injury came at the wrong time. So I think he's the top best. Casemiro, I said this before a few weeks ago. It was, in fact, I even said it was my player of the season at that point. The reason why I said so was I think it fixed the major problem in United's midfield. But the reason why maybe his impact has tailed off is the number of games he kept missing for this suspension, for getting red card. To be fair, one of those suspension, I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree with that one where they said he held somebody's neck and next thing they just banned him for 4 games or 3 games. That seemed very harsh to me because people did similar. Like Grealish did that to Partey during the City Arsenal game. He grabbed Partey by the neck. He didn't get a red card. And next thing they did the same thing to Casemiro, and Casemiro is gone.
He's not an Omo.
Exactly. Grealish can do that and get away with it, but Casemiro can't do it and get away with it, and he's banned for 4 games. So I think that reduces his impact. But I just think he has been a game changer for United.
Yes.
He brought that world-class influence in the midfield. So he's second for me. But of course, number 1 is Haaland now. 50 goals for the season. He's not even at his peak yet.
It's scary.
Imagine when he's at his peak. Just imagine when he's at his peak. He's on 50 goals already this season. So what do you want to say again now? Come on. It's a cheat code. That's like a cheat code. That guy is unstoppable. Against Arsenal, he missed it's not like he even missed. It was Ramsdale was saving the chance. Ramsdale was missing.
There was the one Ramsdale saved. And there's one he was missing.
Yeah, there were ones he was off target, but most of them were on target. Just Ramsdale was saving them. But then he still scored at the end. So it's like it's inevitable. Like this guy will score. Even if you save all the first 5 shots, the 6th shot will go in. Like it's unstoppable. So yeah, Saliba, Casemiro, and Haaland, number 1 for me.
Idris.
I was very close to Arinzia and Ray. I was throwing their line, but Casemiro kept popping up in my head, right? And I'm glad you mentioned it. So now I'm going to just steal your stuff and go away. So, but Casemiro is so important that I know Ayo has a different opinion of this thing, but think about his drop off. You remember I used to have that issue with when a serious Chelsea player goes away, Kante leaves. Everybody's like, Kante doesn't finish the season. But then Kante comes back and you can totally see why at 33, me, I still want them to give him 5-year contract because these other idiots that we have, right? So it's my propaganda. Let my agenda.
Yeah, I'm glad you
let my agenda. So Casemiro for me, Saka for a kid, man. Like God, they said there was a picture of somebody last season. They had this grown adult standing on the baby's shoulder. They said that was how that it was photoshopped, that there was a grown man standing on a baby's shoulder. They said this is how Saka is carrying us now. Like an absolute 6-month-old baby just sitting there. There was a grown adult standing. Like this is how Saka is carrying us now. I think it was photoshopped. So that boy is, and he also hasn't hit his peak. The Haaland thing for me is already boring, and it sucks that I can even feel that way. Like God. But what I would say though with Haaland is, if in fit, make on Chelsea, go score goal. Because we know how to kill strikers.
No Haaland, man. Not Haaland, not Erling Haaland, man. But comment says managers, Emery, Eddie Howe, Ten Hag, the players, Haaland, Caicedo. Caicedo is a good shout.
Caicedo is good, but not Casemiro good Caicedo. Like you need to understand, Casemiro came in and stabilized the water.
I don't want to even go into that. I don't.
4 or 5 Champions League winner. No, level different now.
This is what we say in our United group chat. People are always like, look at players, say, 5 Champions League winner. No, look at the profile of a player versus what your team needs. But yeah, we're not going to.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
Casemiro is good, by the way. He's awesome. He's dropped off for the last couple of weeks, just like
he has dropped off. I wouldn't say that. Yes.
Yeah, just like Partey, he's been that bad.
I agree.
I think they say he played well today. I didn't watch this game. He played well today. But before that, he's been bad, like really bad. But yeah, he's world class. He has been world class since September till the suspension started.
Or maybe he's playing average. But because
he's probably tired. Yeah, I told you
because of what we expect. Like when players are so good,
everybody against everybody, against 0-11. The hack doesn't care. Play everybody. What?
So, I think he dropped off. And we think that he's crap now. I mean, we're not saying his talent is crap. We're just saying like it's just because the level we expect them to be so good.
It's so high. That's true.
It's so high that when they become normal, we're like, this guy has dropped off. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's why he's pay the big bucks to keep that level.
Yeah.
Fair, man. Fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, FYI, Chelsea players, I think 70% of Chelsea players are probably getting a 30% pay cut.
Next
season.
Yeah.
Wow. Kudos and Donkey of the week. Idris, let me start with you since you're
Chelsea. What are we? Everybody, all the donkey, they Chelsea. No worry. Carry on.
Do you have kudos, Idris? Any kudos?
Honestly, I haven't paid attention to a lot of soccer.
Okay, Kwame, see, just because people tell me that I have an agenda. I'm like, how can I have an agenda against a United player that has made us relevant when we were in the doldrums last season, dealing with But I keep quiet when I talk. I just keep quiet. Okay. Now, fam, Oga come and say, let's not get into Casemiro debate. I see him every week. He's not as up there as they make it seem. Yeah, I say it.
I have one kudos. I don't know if it's this week he said it. It's Mourinho. When he called out the 13 points they gave Juventus back.
Yeah. That was last week Sunday. So it's kind of this week.
It's okay, cool. Because he was like, I've been in Italy. I didn't come to Italy yesterday. That they gave them the 13 points. I need to come back to Chelsea. I need to come back to Chelsea.
Seriously. I wish he comes out Chelsea. From your name to for me, what you just said. I hope it happens. What? I hope Mourinho comes back to you. I'll be there, front and center. I'll be stirring the pot when he's burning everything to the ground. What? Ari Baba, kudos and donkey of the week.
I don't have any kudos per se, not on top of my head. Donkey has to go to Frank Lampard. Like, I'm sorry, like
just in Chelsea.
I didn't
Don't be nice.
It has to go to. Well, you can say Chelsea, but yeah, Frank Lampard. I mean, it's just. I still can't believe he hasn't even drawn a game or won a game like it.
We need 1 point.
007.
1 point.
About 007 Frank Lampard. Wow.
I mean, we need 1 point to be mathematically safe. This guy's been looking for it for 5 games.
Wait. Question. Chelsea has played 5 games under Pankaba in Premier League.
I think he's played 3 games in the Premier League.
So 5 is including Champions League. Okay.
Yeah.
Just show us you can draw. One game. Just help us start one game.
Ola,
Donkey. Well, Donkey. Richard. Listen. The idiot who with his pigeon dancing. He was even doing that pigeon dancing that he was doing in the World Cup. I was like, this guy, he didn't score the winning goal in the World Cup final or Champions League final. You scored an equalizer, and you were like, I just don't know. I don't like the guy. I think I speak for many fans. The guy just winds people up. And it's good. He got instant karma because there's a picture of him putting his hand on his head like this. Yeah, after we scored the 4th goal, just 2 minutes after he took off his shirt, he was celebrating an equalizer. So he's just a donkey. His days at Everton, just when he was at Everton, we just didn't like him. He was always full of, he was always doing all these bad tackles. He was always diving, all of that. So he's my donkey of the week. But my kudos of the week goes to Roberto De Zerbi of Brighton. They won 6-0. This is how you know how good this Brighton setup is. They put Mitoma on the bench. McAllister was on the bench. They had one of their other top players on the bench. And they put people that you think are random players and Cisco, Undav, players that you're like, who are these guys? And they smashed Wolves 6-0. That shows how good, like even their top players don't have to be there for them to get that kind of result. So I just think he's a very good manager. He has put Brighton to a whole new level. And he's kudos of the week to him. And they have Man United coming up. So hopefully they take some points off Man United for us. That'll be nice.
There's a kudos that crept into my mind though. And because it affects all of us as Nigerians. I don't know, Ray, are you Nigerian too? As well?
Yeah, I'm Nigerian, yeah.
Okay. Kudos of you guys don't laugh. It has to be the NFF, the Nigerian Football Association. Has anybody seen the U17s?
No, what happened this week?
They look like 17-year-olds.
Wow.
Wait. Inside joke, man. Don't get mad. They won today.
Okay.
Wow.
And apparently some of those boys, people knew that people are like, this was the boy I played against in SS1, in SS2. Some of them are from the same time, apparently.
Okay.
And all of them passed. For them to get here, they all passed the MRI. Guys.
The bone test.
It's a step in the right direction. Let's be hyping the country when the country moves forward.
I agree. I got comment says it's Donkey's Jim Ratcliffe. If you are going to
Ratcliffe do?
If you are going to make Glazer a part of your bid, the Ineos bid, the second Ineos bid, the second bid for Man United. Apparently, Glazer is part of the bid. Yeah. Then stay the F away from my club.
He's really paid.
Then it says it's kudos.
Is that even possible?
This is a very good shout. Gary O'Neill at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Man is turning water into wine because he's down there, we don't need to talk about him. They're in mid-table now. They're not down there.
I gave him kudos 2 weeks ago. They are mid-table.
Right now, they are. Let me look at it. I saw that they are. Bournemouth is they're 13th, neck on neck with Chelsea.
They might jump Chelsea.
39 points with Chelsea.
Yes, now for sure.
Neck on neck, Chelsea. Hey, the battle for 12th or 11th. What about Chelsea's fighting for? I don't even know they're fighting.
We're fighting for survival. If you go to Chelsea forums, we do mental health. We talk about like financial empowerment. We don't talk about soccer anymore. Like what?
That's good. No, I'm very
we talk about more important things in life.
Because if that was a united group, by this time, people have cursed people's father, people have blocked people. Like our group, where United is not doing well, United chat, it gets toxic. Like, and to be fair, I'm part of people that makes it toxic too. That's very toxic.
Chelsea's a toxic club, Ayo. Chelsea's a naturally toxic club. So when things really hit the fan at Chelsea, we quickly just summarize it and say, okay, it is what it is. Then we start building each other's spirits.
Okay, Ray, give me your kudos and donkey of the week.
Okay, quick thing though, Bournemouth is playing Chelsea on the 6th. So I'm going to be watching that game. But kudos. Honestly, Newcastle, man. These guys are. I don't. They're just getting it. I'm going to start with when they beat Tottenham. I'm hoping it was part of this week. So I'm counting that as part of this week. That's 6-1. So kudos Newcastle. They're getting the results and like playing really well, scoring those goals. And then again, was it against Everton? That game, Isak, that assist, that game, destroying teams. And then Donkey is got to be Tottenham. One, again, I'm counting from that Newcastle game all the way, getting yourself 5-0 down after 20 minutes, and then repaying. And then today they had a chance to save themselves, and I can't believe they still somehow lost that game. So I think this week, I'm just counting the week, I would say Tottenham, Donkey of the week.
I agree. My kudos is my man. You see, my name says Iceman Victor Lindelof. I know we drew on Thursday or whatever, but I'm good. Again, like you guys. I'm starting from Sunday. Brighton FA Cup. It was exceptional against Brighton. He was so good against Brighton. In the first half, Spurs, it was good. I mean, second half we kind of messed up, but today too, Victor Lindelof. He's our 4th centre back in ranking, and he's playing with our 5th centre back. Luke Shaw is not a centre back, but he's been converted into one this season. And we're thriving because, hey, this is not taking shots at Arsenal, but I know since Saliba has been out, the whole Arsenal time are crying. That's why that title race. We are playing with our 4th and 5th centre back for the last couple. So kudos goes to Victor Lindelof and a little bit to Ten Hag, but just patching it and trying to patch us over the line for top 4. So yes, that's my kudos. My donkey of the week goes to Borussia Dortmund. Oh, wow. That's my second, by the way. I say it every time. I don't know if everybody knows. Like last week, I was like, yes, Bayern slip up. Title was in their hand. 6 games to go. They won 4-0. I was already quite celebrating. Like, yes. I looked at the schedule, Bochum. I'm like, oh, this schedule is easy. There's no. I think maybe there's Bayer Leverkusen toward the end. That's the game I'm afraid of. How we're going to. This is 3 points. We got to win the league now. They play Bochum 1-1. Lord, I just put my head on the ground like this.
I read that there was a penalty that should have been given to Dortmund.
I know, but like if you're a serious team, those things you don't like let those small. Yeah, it was a bad decision. I saw it. I saw the game. It's like that penalty, but like we had chance. XG was almost 4-4. Voila, 4.0 XG. It missed big chance after big chance. I'm like, this is Bochum. So yeah. So I was disappointed with Dortmund. Like you can't keep doing this every season. They are the main. This is Dortmund too. That's what they are.
Yeah, I draw parallels between Dortmund and Arsenal actually quite a bit. They're always the nearly team, if that's happened. So
they miss Klopp. That's why. Because since Klopp left, they've not won anything.
And they're always around, but not quite. Yeah.
But even Klopp, how many times did Klopp win?
He won back-to-back league titles.
I went to Champions League final.
Yeah.
I remember that Bundesliga, the whole of Bundesliga.
That's the Napoli/Liverpool situation now. Like, as long as Bayern Munich, what I'm trying to defend them a little bit, is Bayern Munich is in that league.
Yeah, but the most Bayern looked like they had slipped up already, like big time, and the chance was in their hands. Quickly, I know I said this. I know we are late, but if you can say it in 30 seconds, what is the one thing that is making you nervous about your team going to next season? I'll start with.
Don't worry about me. I'm going to answer it.
I know you. We know your own is going to administration or relegation. Ola, what's the one thing you're worried about?
Lack of investment, stingy owners. That's what I'm most owners who are already saying because we're not in Champions League, we can't buy Jude Bellingham. They're giving us briefings already. And if we're not going to invest, then we're not going to make top 4. That's it. We're not going to make top 4 if we don't invest properly. Now, I'm not meaning that invest, they invest, but they want to sell to invest. I don't want that kind of investment. I want the one that Sugar Toddy is doing in Chelsea. The one that can just splash cash without selling some of your top players. Just buy. You don't have to sell first. That's what I'm talking about. So if we don't do that, we're not going to make top 4 next season.
Okay. Arinze, what's the one thing that's making you nervous about Arsenal going to next season?
The whole club, coaching staff and ownership thinking we have reached the end of our transformation. when really we should still, this season should be considered a stepping stone. So whatever we're planning on doing, we should continue doing it and not feeling like, oh, because we competed in the title this season, automatically that's the end of our building, because we obviously still have a lot to do. So
Good. Great.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off what you said. And so the players they should be looking at should be quality better, not just patchwork, add another 3 players for numbers, because now we're going to be Champions League. I don't want to be catching 5-0, because we didn't even talk about how we couldn't manage multiple tournaments. We let it slide this season because we were going for the big one. So like the quality of additions is got to be just top notch to continue the process.
Okay. And mine is the takeover. I see Ogakwame. We kind of think the same. Damn, that's what I was thinking of, the takeover. How the takeover impacts our transfer window. That's my biggest one.
You guys are good. The Saudi guy already came up with 5 billion, right? You guys are good.
Nice.
Arab boys are winning right now, man.
This will drag. Arab boys are winning. That's a good one. Chief Fighter say kudos to Victor Lindelof, Donkey, Lucas Moura. They'll go come and say takeover. Well, we've almost gone 2 hours for you guys. If you're watching, like, share, subscribe. Ray, thanks for coming on. Ari Baba, your first show. This was amazing. Thanks for coming on. Ola, Idris. We'll start a Chelsea Care Foundation for Chelsea. Chelsea Care Foundation for Chelsea. For people in the comments, thank you for joining. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and we're out.
Bye.